Hi, I'm Marcus, and I graduated from NUSDID in 2016. I'm currently a UX designer at Facebook. Um, and a little bit about my past. When I graduated in 2016, I had the opportunity, was quite fortunate to be able to join Grab back then. That was the first job I was in. I joined as a UX designer, and to be honest, I never thought I would be in this specific field. I've always kind of been really passionate about doing like physical product design, but yeah, the opportunity opened up, and I started my career at Grab. I spent about 2.5 years there, working on some of the initial internal tooling, but I transitioned to the financial rewards products that they were building up. So I had a pretty good exposure to starting out with mobile interfaces. I moved to Alipay last the year before 2019, if not 2019, and over there I got to get a little bit more exposure to designing with data, working very closely on the financial products that we were building up within the region. And currently at Facebook, I am working on internal and enterprise products for the security teams, for teams that are using Facebook's enterprise products such as Workplace. And I've been doing that since June of 2020. Before DID, I enjoyed doing arts. I enjoyed drawing, painting, and I guess that was my understanding of creativity. Um, and I enjoyed that process, but I think it was rather unstructured how I approached things. Just kind of drew, copied stuff. I don't think I was exactly creative, and to be honest, I didn't really have a concept of what it meant to design something. Didn't really take much notice of the things around me that I used, that I interacted with as being designed. I think it's pretty cliche, but um, I guess my earliest memory of what my awareness of what design was my 13th birthday when my dad got me a iPod Mini, one of those nice silver ones that could hold like 200 songs, and I think that was when I realized what it meant to have for something to be designed well. I remember opening it up and feeling it, interacting with it, and I thought that this was a really pleasant product to interact with. And I think subconsciously that was really my first understanding of what it meant to be, what something that was well intentioned and well designed turned out to be like. I think the three key things I took away from DID has to be. I think the first has to be about just getting exposed to different design processes, different ways of approaching a problem. That's been really helpful. The second has been about being able to articulate design decisions, design rationale, and distilling it down to really precise whys and explanations of why we're approaching or why we selected certain directions. And the last one would be about storytelling and communication. So I think these three things have really helped to provide a bit more of a foundation and a bit more of a methodological approach in my work, in my day to day, and new projects that I pick up. In regards to future possibilities, I'm not sure, to be honest. I think it'd be exciting to see, and I think these foundations really help to provide that. Um, Provide It allows us to be a little bit more adaptive. I feel, for me personally, adaptive in the different domains that I explore and I pick up. So I think it's something I'm really appreciative of. A recent win that comes to mind is on a COVID-related tool that I was working on at Facebook, and we just launched last week internally. It's a tool that we are planning to use globally across our offices for the return to office when that happens. And why it was a win was, I think, largely as a designer being able to be part of the process. Initially, the business had a very clear solution to the problem they had. But as a designer, being able to help reframe that challenge, reframe that problem, and helping the team pivot the direction of the overall tool. And I think it draws back to certain skill sets that we pick up at DID. I mean, user interviews, prototyping, kind of leveraging on all of these throughout the process to really highlight and illustrate to businesses the different ways of approaching a specific problem. And I don't know how it turned out. I mean, the data, we're still waiting for it to come in, so we can't really say whether it's successful or not. But I think these kind of opportunities, it's definitely exciting whenever you get it, depending on whatever company, being able to help the business kind of shift their mentality from the initial solutions that they come up with. And it's definitely a growth, something that you continue to grow at, because I think the more you do it, the more you realize the kind of impact that design can have throughout when the teams are trying to solve these kind of challenges. Personally, to me, I think designing is about problem solving at its core. Solving problems, user problems, business problems. And quite frankly, I feel like all companies have problems and challenges to solve, whether they realize it or not. And as a designer, I'm not sure if encouraging is the right word, but that's a nice space to be in, knowing that you'll be able to contribute to a company, either bring more value to their business or users, hopefully both at the same time. And I think it's also encouraging to see companies that are and have been doing well, tech companies especially, such as Facebook, Google, Apple, you look at other ones like Spotify, Netflix, and to see how they place a priority on design and designers, not just executing wireframes or visuals, but you can see the growing maturity of design within these companies, and other companies having to play catch up or to also mature in the same way, prioritizing design in their thinking process, in their product that they build. And I think it's interesting just to kind of pull out all the different examples of companies that have not prioritized on focusing on user problems, designing for actual needs, and how those haven't really fared so well in some situations. So I think that's something that is that upward trend, at least, is something that as a designer is encouraging. I think my last piece of advice would be, whether you're a new student or someone that's continuing to join DID, is to try to broaden your exposure, to different types of design, whether it's different cultural influences. I think in school, we were always very focused on minimal, clean, Japanese, dithyrambs, and that's a great place to kind of start. But I think just trying to broaden your perspective on different things and try to immerse yourself in different cultures. I think the chance to go overseas to Paris, for example, was a very good and very insightful experience to just see how different designers in France, for example, approach the process differently than how we would in Singapore. So I think exposure is a good thing to kind of explore. And then the other thing is about different design fields, not only product design, UX, just trying to find ways to get more insight to what it means to be a designer in these respective fields, so that maybe it's something that you could also specify in the later parts of your education.